Hi, I'm Liz Jennings, Employer Engagement Specialist with CareerForce. I'm so pleased to welcome you to the virtual career fair. We will get started in a minute and a half. Before we do that, I've just put in a hyperlink to a sign-in form in the Q&A area. If you could click on that link and type in your first, last name, and your zip code so that we know you are here, that would really help me. We only use this information to mark off attendance within Microsoft Works, and I don't share this information with anyone outside of the Microsoft Works help desk. And just think of this as if you were walking into a real room with a real auditorium and you signed your name down on the sign-up sheet that you were here. So we're so glad to have you. Okay, it's 10:30. Welcome to everyone for our virtual career fair on Monday, June 22nd. We are holding this career fair today in partnership with Minnesota State. This is the beginning of Minnesota State Week, and so we were so pleased to be able to schedule this today. Our topic for today are companies that offer earn and learn opportunities or tuition reimbursement. But before we do that, let me just go over those housekeeping details. In your browser, you should see a little question mark in a box. That's your Q&A area. Type in a question in that area, and then behind the scenes, we'll be able to publish that, and that's what we will use to ask questions of all of our employers. I have enabled subtitles in English, Arabic, Chinese, Hmong, Spanish, and Russian. I believe the CC, closed captioning or subtitles buttons, is on the bottom of your platform if you're viewing this on a browser, Chrome or Firefox or Bing or Internet Explorer. So go ahead and turn on the subtitles and then use the little gear wheel to choose the language of your choice. I have posted an attendance form in the Q&A area. Please sign in with your first, last name, and your zip code, just so that we know that you are here. I mark you as attended in the Microsoft Works, or Minnesota Works database. Today, I'm so pleased to have with us representatives from Minnesota State. Medtronic will be covering their materials. Unfortunately, this morning at 8:30, they let me know that they couldn't attend at the last minute. We have representatives from mHealth Fairview, AmeriCorps, Math and Reading Corps, UPS, and Target. I also want to introduce my coworker, Sam Kuhl from CareerForce in northern Minnesota. Is it Bemidji, Sam, or Brainerd?
It's Alexandria, Wadena, Little Falls, and Fergus Falls. Alexandria is my home office.
Thank you. That's why I didn't remember it, but we're so glad to have you. And Sam's going to be keeping an eye on all of your questions this morning. So at this point, I would like to introduce Emily Johnson from Inver Hills Community College, Bill Baldus from Metropolitan State University. Go ahead, Emily and Bill.
Thanks, Liz, and you can go ahead and skip to the next slide. Like Liz said, I'm Emily Johnson, and I run the Career Center at Inver Hills Community College located in Inver Grove Heights, Minnesota.
Hello, and my name is Bill Baldus, and I do the same at Metropolitan State University located right in the heart of St. Paul. And together we are here today representing Minnesota State.
And Liz, if you want to skip to the next slide. We are also happy that you wanted to join us today, and we're excited to share a little bit of information about our 37 colleges and universities in the Minnesota State system. We're also excited to share some of our employer partners with you. The employers who you will hear from today are extra special partners for our colleges and universities because they all have some form of tuition assistance program. At Minnesota State, we offer some of the most affordable education options in the state, and these employers are options that make the cost of going to school even more affordable.
Across Minnesota, we offer flexible degree options. Within the 30 state colleges and 7 state universities of Minnesota State, there is a place, a program, and an attainable plan of action for everyone. We offer an extraordinary education for the lowest cost and highest value in the state, and we are a partner of choice to meet the workforce needs of Minnesota. At Minnesota State, we pride ourselves in providing quality education while being conveniently located in 47 communities across the state. We are an affordable option with documented evidence of success in social mobility, which measures how likely it is that children will grow up to be better off financially than their parents. In fact, Metro State ranks #1 in the state on CollegeNet's Social Mobility Index.
All right, Liz, to the next slide. This week is a very special week. Oh, I guess, never mind, back to the map. But this week is a special week for Minnesota State because we're celebrating Minnesota State Week. And this is a week where every campus is hosting virtual events where you can learn more about the unique offerings that their school has to offer and apply for free. So we invite you to join in some or all of these tours. We'll share the link to access these events in the chat so you can access the school's pages that you want to learn more about. If this week does not work for you, please know that our schools are able and available to conduct virtual tours and informational meetings at your convenience. So we have the link on the slide, but we will also get it in the chat today for you as well.
Without further ado, we would like to introduce you to our first employer joining us today.
Yeah, as I mentioned, unfortunately, our recruiter, Ruth Susi, called me around 8:30, 9 o'clock and said she couldn't make it. We have the slides, though, so this is included in your PDF. You'll be getting this information to all of you who pre-registered for this event. Just know that Medtronic has long supported career pathways, earn and learn opportunities. So I know both you, Emily, and Bill have worked with Medtronic over the years. Can you just describe a little bit about how they've supported your students?
Yeah, I would share that Medtronic actually came to us at Inver Hills Community College and said they wanted to diversify their workforce and look beyond the graduate who has a 4-year degree. And so we actually went directly to their place of employment and did all of the admissions paperwork with any interested employees. And so they have employees who are working towards receiving their associate's degrees through Inver Hills, and now several graduates, since we've had such a long partnership with them, who are working on advancing their credentials while working full-time with Medtronic. So they are very much just trying to support their employees in developing a long-term career path with their company, and they are doing that through tuition assistance. And so as I've worked with Ruthie and the students who are working at Medtronic and then enrolled with Inver, I just hear very consistently about flexibility and support over at Medtronic for their employees as they are our students as well. And we will be able to add the careers page URL into the chat as well with Medtronic today.
Yeah, so we have this page, with the jobs.medtronic.com. They do make the point that if you do consider applying, to ensure that you meet the minimum qualifications before applying, make sure that all of your social media, your LinkedIn profile, kind of indicates that you're open to new opportunities and that it kind of matches what Medtronic is looking for. And of course, they always recommend networking. they, in their slides too, they made the point that if you see in the bottom right of the slide, it says sign up for job alerts. If there's a career or a job pathway that you have your eye on, you can create a job alert, and so it will automatically email you if something within that department comes up. Emily or Bill, do you have anything else that you want to add about Medtronic?
I think that's it for both of us.
Yep, me too.
Okay. So Ruth.a.susi@medtronic.com was the person who originally was interested, or she was going to attend. So you can certainly send her an email and set up a time to talk with her more in the future. Since we have a minute, though, what I want to ask, though, are some of the questions that are directed to Minnesota State. I wasn't anticipating this, but some people are asking questions about getting hired at Minnesota State. Brittany says, I'm interested in employment within Minnesota State. I have 7 years of experience in higher education. I am wondering if you know of available positions and if they are hiring during the hiring freeze in the Minnesota State system. Bill or Emily, what do you know about that?
My advice would be to get the ball rolling and start making contacts with whoever you might know in the system or people who know people in the system, because hiring processes take a lot of time, and you never know when a freeze will lift or when even a part-time or project-based thing will open up.
I would echo that. Actually, a funny story, Bill connected me with somebody, and that person's now working in the system at a different school than the two that we work at, but they did a lot of informational interviewing and found their way into the system. And so as we kind of grow and develop through this time, I would keep watching the careers page.
Good, good. There was one other question about enrolling in Minnesota State. What if you already have school loans that are in default? Can you still take classes if there is tuition reimbursement? So if you got a job somewhere and they're offering to reimburse your tuition, that employer, how would that work if you have had problems in the past financially with your school loans?
I think that answer is probably very dependent on each individual student. So my default is to say, reach out to a campus and have a conversation with our admissions folks so they can walk you through kind of your past and what we can assist you with as far as future enrollment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Sure.
I agree, Emily. And there are a lot of special events going on this week that people can jump into to learn more about all of our opportunities.
We had another question. This is appropriate for both of you, Bill and Emily, because you're in career services. One question is, I have a question in regards to your LinkedIn comment and how to optimize LinkedIn for employment. Do these employers prefer candidates whose LinkedIn summaries are short and sweet or in-depth and detailed?
I love that question. I would encourage you short and sweet, and I would also encourage you to maximize your headline. As I work with our students on campus, when they create a LinkedIn account, the default for their headline is going to be student at Inver Hills Community College. But if you can optimize that to include code or keywords or some sort of language that identifies that you are actively seeking, that's going to help recruiters find you and reach out to you using LinkedIn.
Good. Thank you. Let's move ahead now. I'd like to welcome Ann Gibson, Workforce Development Consultant with mHealth Fairview.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, great. Okay. Thank you.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you to DEED and to Minnesota State Colleges and Universities. We are so honored to have the opportunity to speak to this audience today. Among our great partners and the other employers that are wonderful employers that are on this webinar with me today. So thank you for having us. And my name is Ann Gibson. I'm a workforce development consultant. Toward the end of my presentation, you'll see a slide that has a little more information on what our department is all about, but we work on pipelines, career pathways, earn and learn programs. We get to partner all across HR in our organization with recruitment, sourcing, HR strategy, our HR reps. We have the opportunity to look at our really high need areas or positions that are difficult to fill and think about unique opportunities or programs that we can create to help attract talent to those openings. So you can go to the next slide, Liz. So a little bit about who we are. We've gone through a lot of change in the past few years. In 2017, Fairview merged with Health East. So we are now one organization. And we also recently in the past year, I like to say we renewed our vows with the University of Minnesota. We have a co-collaboration and clinical agreement. We are one brand. We are mHealth Fairview now. So that encompasses the Health East merger, the Fairview sites. We have 10 hospitals and 60 clinics. We have approximately somewhere around 35,000 employees across the system. We are also really pleased to have Ebenezer Senior Living Communities among our organization. They are also a part of Fairview Health Services, and we have a lot of job openings there now. One other thing I wanted to touch on before I jump into kind of the two key components of my presentation today that I talked about with Liz, I wanted to bring to those of you on the call, kind of highlight our current openings or where we have the most need, where we are doing that hiring right now today, and then some of our earn and learn programs and the benefits of being a part of our organization and growing your career with mHealth Fairview. Healthcare is in a unique position. COVID-19 and the pandemic is certainly, it's impacting every industry, of course. But there are parts of our business where certainly we had to, for example, shut down elective surgeries for some time. Many of our clinics had to close. We had to move almost everything as much as possible to virtual care. We've just constantly had to reevaluate and look at our care model, and some services temporarily shut down altogether. So we certainly do have parts of our organization where we have had to furlough people. We have over 6,000 furloughs across the organization right now. So we are, the financial impact is extremely significant. And, but at the same time, due to the pandemic, there is huge need across the system, especially, within both Fairview and Ebenezer. And I'm going to touch on some of those roles, but just to kind of let you know, I know it can be confusing for candidates. There are some positions we had to go through and look at all of our open recs and see what we had to what we had to pull down for now, the areas where we just aren't able to hire at the moment. So things are constantly in flux for us at the moment, but we can jump to the next slide. So the next two slides really are focusing on our Ebenezer communities, but certainly this is true of mHealth Fairview as well. I would say resident assistant and nursing assistant are our top two openings right now across the system. Thanks to Governor Walz, an executive order was put in place that allows us to hire someone at the moment that is not on the nursing assistant registry. That is normally a requirement, but you do have to get on the nursing registry within 4 months of hire. So this has helped us fill some of these roles. But this slide here gives you a little bit more description over what each of these roles are: resident assistant, home health aide, nursing assistant, or nursing station technician. in our acute care settings. These are the different settings where you'll typically find these titles. I will say, however, you'll notice in the descriptions, there is a lot of overlap between these positions. So we can jump into the next slide. So here you'll see a little more information. We can drill down a little bit deeper into each of these job titles. You can see, particularly in our Ebenezer communities, how many openings we have. This was when I pulled these slides together. It's probably different even today. We are hiring as fast as we can. In fact, I think Liz sent out all the attendees of today's webinar. Right following this webinar, we have our sourcing specialist, Gwen, who would love to meet with you. We have a separate Zoom link set up, and she can meet with you one-on-one and answer more detailed positions about these questions and help you apply right away if you're interested. But this gives you a little bit more of the starting rate of pay, the requirements needed for each position. And I would echo what was on my colleague from Medtronic, their slides. Make sure when you're looking at the job openings that you have those minimum requirements and that you have the time to apply for the position. We try to keep our online applications as brief as possible, but the number one thing you'll want to do is make sure you've completed every part of that application so that it will go right to a recruiter and won't be marked as incomplete. So these are some of the roles and nursing assistant. Also on the Fairview side, we've got links to both below and at the end of my presentation that'll take you right to Ebenezer. You can apply on one link, and then all the Fairview jobs, if you are interested more in acute care or clinic setting, you'll want to look on the Fairview site. So we can jump to the next slide. So here's where we'll get in a little bit more detail about our Earn and Learn programs and the stackable benefits that we have at Health Fairview and at Ebenezer. The benefits look a little different for the organizations. And I will also say, whatever I review today, these benefits are evaluated on a calendar year. So there is always the chance that next year they'll look a little bit different. But this is what we have in place right now. We do have, and I'll kind of go over the differences, but we do have tuition assistance and or reimbursement with both organizations. We have scholarships, we have a number of grants, and the other thing that should be on the slide is tuition discounts. So these programs are, if you are already an employee, if you are hired by Ebenezer or mHealth Fairview site. For tuition assistance or reimbursement on the Fairview side, it's $3,750 annually. There's no waiting period. There is a 2-year work commitment assigned to this. And in general, I would say that it is these, to access this benefit, it would be for further education that helps increase your competence in your current job or is the pathway to your next step with mHealth Fairview. There are a number of specific requirements, and you would get more information about that, of course, throughout the recruitment and onboarding process, but trying to give you kind of the high level requirements. So again, $3,750, that's available to you right away. There's a 2-year work commitment. And then you have to be a 0.6 FTE, or you have to work at least 48 hours per pay period for this benefit. On the Ebenezer side, it's currently $2,000 annually. You must be employed for a year before you can access this benefit, and there's a 1-year work commitment. And then their requirement at this time is to be a 0.5 FTE or to work at least 40 hours per pay period. So that's a little bit about the tuition assistance or reimbursement. We do have scholarships that are actually, the applications are open right now. They're usually annually, and it's around this time of year. And there's a number of different scholarships, and they range anywhere from $750 to $1,500 In some cases, they're even available to family members of benefit eligible employees. So even as I was looking over these, some of them are even open to children, grandchildren, siblings, nieces, and nephews. They are open to both mHealth Fairview and Ebenezer communities, and for current employees, of course. So, and that can be, that's where the term stackable benefits comes into play, because you can be utilizing your tuition assistance or reimbursement benefit and also apply for a scholarship. And in some cases, you can also be a part of one of the grants that we have, and that will just depend, of course, on the requirements of the grant too. So just taking a sip of water here. So some of them, yeah.
And we do have a few questions coming in.
Sure.
Do you have a moment for some questions?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. One of the first questions that is getting a lot of likes right now is they're wondering if there are remote opportunities.
So that is a great question. So right now, you know, even as I'm speaking to you, I'm working remotely. So that is a hard question to answer at the moment. Typically, I would say more being healthcare, more of our opportunities are going to be in person. But I think that the way we all work is changing due to the current situation. So I think there certainly will be some remote opportunities in the future. And there certainly are some out there already. It will say in the job you're looking at, of course, that would be listed if that is an option.
And another one that's coming in is, I don't have medical experience. How do I apply for a concierge receptionist position at mHealth? Excuse me.
Sure. Well, backing up to the previous slide, I mean, that will be addressing more nursing assistant and resident assistant, but you'll be able to see where some of those where previous experience is not required. And that is the case too. Again, I would just refer to the minimum requirements in any job description. There's times when we're at full speed, full capacity, we can have anywhere of 1,600 openings across our system, and anything from, you know, our physician and nurses to receptionists. I mean, that encompasses everything. So it's hard for me to say across the board. But again, I would just refer to those minimum requirements. And if you are looking in general, I would say, if you are hoping to work in a hospital, there's some jobs where more experience will be required because of the acuity of patients. And I think backing up one slide, I just want to or actually two slides. How am I doing on time, Liz, too?
Well, we're just about at time.
Okay.
We've got to move on pretty soon here.
Okay, I'll talk fast here. So we do have a number of grants. Our Minnesota Apprenticeship Initiative, our Dual Training Pipeline Grant. At the moment, the MAI grant, we aren't able to add any new apprentices, and that's just due to the grant deadlines. But we do work closely with our Minnesota State colleges and university partners. In fact, we have our IT apprentices attending Metro. So I just wanted to shout out all the schools on this call too, and how closely we partner with them. The Home Community-Based Services Grant is a grant specifically for Ebenezer employees to help them achieve their LPN, RN, or NA at an accredited school. So there's lots of resources to help employees grow within Fairview as well. And I think we just have one more slide there.
Which one, that one?
Yeah, and there's a lot on this slide, so you can just take a look, but this is a little bit about workforce development, and you can see it's just a good snapshot of how we work with students and kind of the different buckets of opportunity. And then the last slide is just, again, wanted to provide you with my contact information. any of you on the webinar, or if you're watching or listening to this in the future, please feel free to reach out to me. My email is right there. I also included the Fairview Recruitment Center contact information, and then again, those links to Fairview and Ebenezer where you can apply right now today. And then please join our Zoom call after this with Gwen, and she'd be happy to talk to you more in detail about our openings at Ebenezer as well. So thank you so much.
Good. Thank you, Anne. Yes, there were a lot of questions coming in from all of you about mHealth. So maybe, Anne, you can spend a few minutes in typing a few replies. Sure. And yes, all of you with additional questions, reach out to Anne, agibson3@fairview.org after this, and join the Zoom call with Gwen. I included the Zoom link information in the email that I sent to you with the link to this event, so you should have it. I put it into red bold. But I would like to move on now to our friends and colleagues at AmeriCorps. We have Jenny Nyberg and Stephen Shriver of Reading Corps and Math Corps joining us. Welcome.
Thank you. Can you hear me okay?
You're on. You're great.
Perfect. So I'm Jenny Nyberg. I'm a recruiter with Reading and Math Corps. And then we do have Stephen on the call. Stephen is brand new to us as of just a couple weeks ago. So he's really here shadowing. He might chime in, but he's not scripted into our chat today. So we are AmeriCorps Programs, which really is a nationwide organization. We're service-oriented. We market ourselves as the Domestic Peace Corps. What that means is we're looking for people who want to do good work and make an impact, but instead of doing it overseas and in other countries like in the Peace Corps, we're asking people to do that within their own communities. If you want to go to the next slide, please. So Reading and Math Corps specifically are focused on education of our youth. Again, our vision is a future where all children are proficient readers by the end of 3rd grade and algebra ready by the end of 8th grade. We know that in order to be successful in school and the rest of your life, you really need to have that solid foundation with literacy, with those basic math skills to be able to function in academics and in the workforce. So that's really where we're targeting all of our energy within Reading and Math Corps, supporting those students. Every year we hire something like 1,300 tutors to support our Minnesota youth, and we end up impacting around 30,000 students each school year. If you want to shift to the next slide. What's really unique about our positions compared to some of the other ones that we'll hear from today is that we don't require any prior experience. I know we got a question from Jeff a few minutes ago asking if you can be 62 and have no degree and find some opportunities, and you absolutely can. We are just looking for folks who are 18 or older, have some English fluency, and are legal citizens of the U.S. If you have those things, a beating heart and a desire to make a difference, we are happy to work with you and to put you in the position to be positively impacting your community. We provide all the training and support, so we know about 1/3 of our tutors do come to us as recent grads from college and high school. We also have 1/3 of our tutors are in that retiree community, and then 1/3 are exactly like me. I was a tutor myself. I had been a nursing assistant and had no experience in education, but I took some time and I kind of called it a career pivot where I tried something new. I got some new skills, and my life is totally different as a result. If you want to, next slide, please. Our positions are unique also in the way that we pay our members. So we're considered national service. It's technically volunteer work, but it's volunteer with a formal commitment. We're asking you to put up some serious time for the duration of a school year. So it's 18, 25, or 35-hour-a-week commitments. So that's part-time, full-time. We have some options, but you are paid every 2 weeks with a living stipend. That means that if you work as scheduled, you're getting that same amount. If you got the flu or the COVID, as has been a concern, your pay on a biweekly basis will not be affected. And then, of course, because our tutors are working in schools, there's times when there's snow days or spring break, and that stipend doesn't change. So it's really nice in that way that it's stable, consistent income from when you start until when the school year ends in June. Additionally, at the end of service, you're eligible to receive an education award. So once you've completed all those hours that you've committed to, you get this chunk of money that you can put towards any student loans you might already have. Or if you were like myself and wanting to go back to school, you can use it for tuition payment. No problem, and you have 7 years to use it, so you don't have to know exactly right away what you're going to do. And then even some of our institutions throughout Minnesota State and across the country will match those dollars as well, so that's something to look into. We don't put a barrier on what you study, so if you're wanting to pursue a degree in education or anything else, that the world is your oyster. Some of our folks who are maybe retirees and are thinking that going back to school wasn't really in their plans and they don't have student loans, some choose to use that money for themselves to take like an art class at Century College or something like that. Otherwise, also, if you are 55 years or older, you can choose to gift the award to a child, grandchild, or stepchild, and they would have up to 10 years to use it. Additionally, our members get forbearance and interest repayment on their qualified federal student loans during service, and then we have those additional perks of the $1 Metro Transit fares, and then we offer health insurance and child care assistance to full-time tutors as well. If you want to shift to our next slide, please.
And Jenny, you do have a question right now. I know there is training in Minneapolis before the start of the job. Is this year different, meaning the training will be remote?
That's a great question, and yes, we have made the decision that for this whole school year, all of our trainings will be conducted virtually. So online through Zoom and similar platforms, we have an online training module system that we are rolling out. So whether you are up north or in the cities, and no matter what time of the year it is, it will be virtual trainings. We're keeping just COVID and all those restrictions in mind. We know that what the actual school year will look like for tutors in school is a little bit of a mystery, so we at least wanted the training to be a very finite, planned out thing. Back to this slide. So we do offer that expert training and coaching. That's really the magic of our model and what makes our program so effective. All of the work we do is evidence-based. We put a lot of time and research into the work that we do. We know that whether you have a degree or no experience whatsoever, as long as you go through our training and follow our process, you will be able to help students get better and make gains in their reading and math development. We have a model where we pair our tutors with coaches. So throughout your time of service, you are meeting, you're getting that professional development and that feedback in a multiple times a month basis. So you're able to really think deeply and explore the work that you're doing, see what's working, learn what's not, and make those adjustments. And you're having those conversations in a really supportive way. All of our skills, of course, they set you up perfectly to be a literacy or math specialist within the field of education. But if that's not your jam, that's totally cool. It's still really great resume enhancing experience. You're managing a caseload. You're following a schedule that's pretty quick paced. And so you have to get the right student at the right time. You're collaborating with teachers and other professionals around how your students are doing. That's a a lot of skills that can translate into almost any field that you might step into after this work. You're, again, networking. Oh.
We've run out of time. We've got to move ahead to another company.
No problem.
How do they get a hold of you?
Yes, on that first slide, there's mine and Steven's email address. They're able to shoot me an email if they have any questions. Otherwise, you can apply directly at readingandmath.net.
That'd be great. And yeah, perhaps you can answer some of the questions on the Q&A area too, so that people can get more information.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much. I'd like to welcome Jamie Campbell of UPS.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me on today.
Yeah.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, great.
Okay. You can go right to slide 2. UPS is a great place to start. You have a job that you can count on and earn a paycheck that will meet your needs right away. And with the nearly unlimited opportunities here, the long-term view is just as bright. Ready to sort, scan, sweat, and earn an honest day's wage for it. Find out what you'll become at UPS. We have, as you can imagine, we've been on the front lines working this entire time. We're a very essential employer with everybody ordering online. So our volumes have increased, and we have lots of different openings available. Our jobs offer weekly pay. We have full-time seasonal positions, permanent full-time and part-time positions. Some of our positions are unionized and some are non-union positions. Our jobs do require a 5-day-a-week commitment, and it may include Saturdays or Sundays. There's lots of opportunity for growth. We're a strong promote from within culture at UPS. So you can kind of come for the job, but stay for the career, move into other departments as well. Next slide, please. Our hiring and training process really just depends on which position you're applying for package handlers. As of 2019, we begun a new Pymetrics game playing for your interview for our Eagan and Minneapolis locations. So you would play 12 quick games to discover your strengths, and at the end of the games, if you pass them, you'll start your own background check and initiate that, and then pick when you want to actually start with us. The first day that you work for UPS, it's in a classroom environment training, a lot of safety things that we go over with you, and then the remainder of that training period will be in the warehouse working with a supervisor kind of side by side, and they'll kind of help you through your first 30 working days. Our other positions and locations, we are conducting interviews. They are phone interviews due to COVID, just to try to eliminate as much contact as possible. So when you apply online and you fully complete an application and then click the scheduler button to schedule an interview, somebody will call you for your interview. Our driving positions, we're hosting alternate classroom environment training through Zoom. And the training process really varies from position to position, depending on what it is. And it usually lasts from 1 to 30 days. Next slide. Package handling positions, they're part-time. This is kind of an entry-level position into UPS. It's a fast-paced warehouse job, essentially a paid workout. You do have to be able to lift up to 70 pounds. Our packages are already packed. We're just either loading or unloading trucks. You typically work up anywhere from 3.5 to actually 5 hours per shift for a maximum of 25 hours per week. As part of the UPS team, you'll receive competitive hourly rates and then benefits for medical, vision, dental, life, and prescription drug benefits after 9 months of employment. If you're a student, you can also take advantage of up to $25,000 in tuition reimbursement benefits. Those benefits do start the first day that you're hired at UPS. So if you're already in mid-semester, it could get prorated based off when you start with us. Next slide, please. This slide highlights our tuition reimbursements. UPS offers up to $5,250 a year in tuition reimbursement benefits. Those do start the first day you're employed at UPS, like I said. You do have to be actively employed with UPS to receive the benefits. So I know there was a loans. We'll only pay as you're working for us. So we won't back pay any loans in that sense. but the minute that you're hired at UPS, you're eligible to start receiving those benefits. You do have to be attend an accredited institution, and you have to have a passing grade for eligibility. So if for whatever reason you don't pass a class, then we wouldn't pay for it. But it's a really great benefit. It breaks down to $26.25 a semester, reimbursed back to you. We do have 2 schools that we work with where if you don't have money to get started up front, you can they'll defer the billing right to UPS, and that is Normandale Community College and Dakota County Technical College. So that's a great way, to start if you wanted to further your education, but you weren't able to take out loans, you don't have any money to get started. But other institutions, it's a reimbursement process where you pay up front, and then after the semester, you'll show that you passed your classes and you paid for them, and then we reimburse you that money. And I'm just going to go into some of our other positions. So next slide, we are looking for delivery drivers throughout the metro area. Some of these positions are seasonal and permanent. You have to be at least 21 years of age, basically have a clean driving record, no accidents within the last year, no more than 2 within the last 3 years. And then there's some other qualifications as well. I won't go through all of them, but basically you have to be able to pass a road test with us, have to be able to drive a manual transmission, and pass a DOT physical. Next slide, please.
And
we are also looking.
Oh, Jamie, there are some questions coming in. Does UPS have positions for Greater Minnesota, as well as do they hire individuals for 55 and up?
For what?
55 years of age and up.
Oh, yes. You just have to be at least 17 years of age to apply with us. And we do have positions, everywhere, really. When you go on our website, upsjobs.com, you can put in your zip code and how far you're willing to travel. We do have 4, major metro facilities, but then, we have a lot of extended areas too within Minnesota, and really we're everywhere in the country. So if you put your zip code in, the closest locations will come up then for you to search for jobs.
That's great, Jamie. And we have about 2 more minutes.
Okay. I'm on the slide with part-time operations supervisors. We are looking for supervisors too. That is an entry-level position as far as a supervising role. It's very part-time, about 5.5 hours a day. That offers benefits as well with that position after 30 days. And then you're also eligible to use the Earn and Learn program. Again, that has a $25,000 lifetime max. And then we do promote a lot from within at UPS. So this is kind of your starting point to look for other jobs within UPS. If you wanted to get promoted into like business development or finance or accounting, human resources, most of those departments do pull internally from these part-time supervisor positions. So it's a great way to get your foot in the door with UPS and advance your career. And then the last slide just has my contact information on it. Feel free to call me or email me if you have any specific questions. If you would like to search for jobs and be considered for positions, you can visit www.upsjobs.com. And like I said, you just put in your zip code and you'll be able to search for available facilities and different positions available at each facility. And that wraps it up for me. Thank you.
Great job. We have time for one more question. Well, 2 actually. Are corporate positions at UPS working remotely, as well as does UPS provide manual transmission training?
We do not provide that training. You would have to know how to do that prior to applying. And then some of our positions, we are allowing people to work remotely, but that is mostly in our corporate, which is out of Atlanta. Most of the jobs are in the warehouse where we're either processing packages or supervising people processing packages. So we really need to be on site for that. I understand concerns with COVID and some of the things that at UPS, we are social distancing. We offer people masks and hand sanitizer. Now, we don't require that you wear a mask, but we do have them here and we do offer them. So, yeah.
All right, Jamie, sounds like a great place to work. There are other questions coming in, and we're going to move on. Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome to Carl Olson with Target Corporation. Thank you, Carl, for waiting. Last but not least.
Last but not least, it's great to be here. Thank you for having me on today, and I'm excited to talk through some of the opportunities we have at Target. Specifically, I'm representing Target stores with really highlighting that the entry-level leadership role, which is the team leader at Target stores. Obviously, in the metro, we have headquarters in our backyard, but I am here today specifically covering and highlighting Target stores and the team leader role. So I work in the East Metro. I have 9 stores as a district HR. I have my email on the next slide. So I love getting resumes, and if you guys, it doesn't have to be East Metro. It frankly could be all over the state. And I am definitely have contacts that I would be more than happy to share your resume and preferred geography or preferred locations with the store leadership team, and they can reach out and talk through different positions. Next slide, please. Target, I know you guys know Target. We're 1,900 stores in every state, 350,000 team members across the country. And the one thing I want to highlight with Target specifically that we're really excited about, so I think you guys have probably heard about the death of brick and mortar retail, and what Target is doing along with some of our competitors is really figuring out how to make stores the hub of our entire strategy, and that includes digital. And so by having Target stores do a lot of the same day fulfillment of online orders, either with drive up or order pickup, we've actually been outpacing a lot of our competitors in terms of digital growth, growing at over 300% a year. And that same day fulfillment strategy is driving down costs. We can do it about 90% cheaper than a lot of our competitors who are filling those orders from maybe an online fulfillment center. So tons of exciting growth and opportunities. We've remodeled nearly every store in the Minneapolis metro. So not only is digital growing, but also traffic growing, which is a great place to be. The team leader role I want to talk about. So usually our team leaders supervise between 10 to 15 team members, more specific departments. So it could be a front end team leader or a produce team leader or a style or clothing team leader, usually around $10 to $15 million in sales. And there you can see an example, one of many examples of what a store's org chart or organizational chart will look like. We just announced last Wednesday moving to $15 an hour. Which we are thrilled about for our entry-level team member positions, and that takes into effect on the 5th of July. And then our new team leader starting wage will start at $19 an hour. After the next level above the team leader, the hourly team leader role would be that salaried management. It's called an executive team leader, and that role starts in the high 50s, but can vary greatly based on years of experience and also just kind of market competition as well. If we can go to the next slide, I just want to spend a couple minutes talking about tuition reimbursement. This is something that I'm thrilled to talk about. I actually took advantage of this for a graduate HR degree from Concordia St. Paul last year. So it was fun to have Target support me not only from a work-life balance standpoint to make that come to life, but also Target will reimburse. You can see the different dollar amounts. Basically, those are the yearly maxes that Target will reimburse you for every penny up until every penny of tuition is reimbursed. So for undergraduate, which is available to our store team leaders, it's $3,000 a year for undergraduate, and you can get that $3,000 per year for every penny every year up until you've recouped all the cost of your degree. And then for once you get to the salaried or executive team leader role, we do have $4,000 a year for graduate and $5,250 for reimbursement for an MBA. And if you can go to the next slide, please. I just want to spend a little bit of time talking about target.com/careers. I just looked it up this morning. Currently, we have over 30 team leader openings that we are hiring for at this very minute in just the state of Minnesota. And we, throughout COVID-19, we are an essential business and we are experiencing a ton of growth. Our stores are really doing a nice job adapting to the changing environment, social distancing, mandating that all of our team members wear masks. We have moved some of our workload overnight to give greater ability to social distance. And our guests are really responding. Our CEO called out that his goal is to make Target the safest place to shop in America. And we're definitely seeing that come to fruition. So it's exciting to be on the front lines, make a safe place for team members to work, but also our guests to shop. And we're having some pretty nice sales quarters on top of that. My email, if you can go back to that first slide with my email, I just want to leave that up on the screen before there's any questions. I'd love to see resumes in your preferred location, and I would definitely be interested and capable of sharing that resume. I see one question about schedules. Our team leaders do work a rotating schedule every other weekend. And then I think I saw another question about our internal opportunities. Let's say maybe you don't have a ton of leadership experience. A great way to get your foot in the door is just to apply to an hourly team member role. And then you would be able to have conversations with your team leader and ETL to talk through career growth. I try and have a nice healthy balance. About 50% of our team leaders are external with experience, and about 50% are internal promotions, which is one of my favorite parts of the job. What other questions do we have out there?
Carl, I see one from Brittany. She's wondering if Target would consider hiring someone from outside of retail for a salaried management position.
Yeah, it's a great question and one that I'm happy to answer. You definitely do not have to have retail experience to be hired externally for a salaried executive team leader role. We do look for some leadership experience, so we want to see experiencing leading teams, problem solving, taking initiative, but it doesn't have to be retail specific experience. Any others?
Oh, you have a ton. I'm sorry, I was just getting lost in reading them.
I saw one about full-time. Team leaders are full-time positions, so 40 hours a week.
Yes, we're just reading a few more. All right, I see. Other teams, oh, you already read that one. Would weekends be a must, or are they just rotating? As I believe you just stated, every other weekend.
Every other weekend, yes.
Someone wrote, I have applied to Target for a team lead. I have 20 years retail management experience. Even though I'm willing to take a pay cut so I can go back to school, they say that I'm overqualified. What's your recommendation for getting past this?
Yeah, I mean, each situation would be specific, but I think I would ask for just an in-person meeting with either the store director or the HR and talk a little bit more with them about, what you bring to the table and why you might be on paper overqualified, but how you're looking for this position for more experience or a growth in a great company that you are looking for. I think that interpersonal connection is really valuable, and not just relying on maybe a phone call or email.
All right, another one coming in, Carl. Does your continuing education benefit have to relate to what you do at Target?
No, it does not. We do not have any qualifications there. You just have to be enroll as a team member when you apply for the tuition reimbursement, and then obviously still enroll as a team member when that reimbursement is paid.
There was one more question from Marshall who asks, what are you looking for in a potential employee to help with the new digital front for Target's operations? I do want to put a plug in to our YouTube playlist of virtual career fairs. On June 1st, we had a conversation about the tech industry in Minnesota, and we had someone else from Target attend that and talk about tech's IT efforts. Carl's involved in the storefront area. Yeah. I'd say go on to our Career Force YouTube playlist and look up the June 1st tech industry conversation. And you are more than welcome to email me and I'll send you the direct link to that.
Awesome.
Anything else? Sam? Carl? I think that's great. You know what? We're almost out of time anyway. You've got Carl's information. You've got everyone's contact information. But I do want to invite Emily and Bill back for one more moment to talk about Min-State Week.
Yes, thank you, Liz. We've got all sorts of great things going on for each of our schools, Inver Hills, Metro State. We've got information sessions for both undergrad and grad programs, how to transfer. There's going to be some breakout sessions with alumni talking about their experiences, how to apply for financial aid, details on transferring credits, and how to apply. So a lot of short virtual sessions. And Emily and I pasted in our links. So if you're interested in taking the next step, this would be an easy way to do that.
And you can apply for free.
Indeed.
Good. Thank you. I hope everyone has gotten some kernel of information that can help you on your job search or on your continuing education field of how you can mix earning an income and learning at the same time. I would like to put a plug for all of the other Career Force online workshops. We've got a lot of stuff going on across the state of Minnesota. Next week, our virtual career fair, next Monday at this time, will be about public and charter school positions, not just for lead teachers, but there are so many paraprofessional technology specialists, cafeteria work, custodians, librarians, administrators. So we have a consortium of 5 different schools, rural, urban, charter, specialty schools that are going to be here to talk about that. We have our job clubs online that continue. We have interview skills workshops, and you can find out all of this information on careerforcemn.com/events. I do want to push the plug in that you can follow CareerForce MN on any of the major social media channels, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube. We're constantly updating with new conversations, with new event listings, so please follow us and stay in the loop as you're planning your next position. Please contact me at any time, liz.jennings@state.mn.us. I will email out all of this, this PDF of the PowerPoint presentation and the YouTube link once we get it posted. Usually that's by the end of the day today. I want to thank Sam Kill from CareerForce and Bill Baldus and Emily Johnson from Min-State and all of our employer representatives from all of our companies. So this has been a great presentation. I'll hang on for a few more minutes and then feel free to connect with any of us afterwards.
Thank you, Liz.
Bye-bye.